We told you 2 guys were going to get taken in the first round. They did. We told you to keep your eyes out for a few more in the second round. That's where they went. We're talking about all the Georgia Bulldogs and where they were drafted and the worst oversight that NFL GMs have ever committed in the history of the NFL draft. Next on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back. This is the Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Daniel and I, Locked On Bulldogs, your first listen of the day. We appreciate it. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel.com/locked on. Make every moment more. More on FanDuel here in a moment.
You know that.
But we talk about the Georgia Bulldogs like we do as fans, because this just in, Alabama and Florida fan and random Texas fan, I can only imagine, in because you don't try to be Florida or Alabama fan and you speak a big game and have very little.
Hey, welcome to the SEC, Clint. Texas fans,
they don't know,
are from Texas. Do I need to tell you more about them? Or do you now know everything that you need to know?
All I need to know. Texas is abominable. Yep. Glad you guys are here. We talk like fans do because we love being fans. We are homers. We are Georgia football fans, basketball fans. We're talking about them Georgia Bulldogs that are making coin now in the NFL. We're so thrilled for these guys, so proud of them. We're going to talk about Kirby Smart as the developer and how he goes ahead and gets the most squeeze out of every lemon that he gets on campus. It's amazing what this guy's able to accomplish.
That's right.
And you should be impressed by it. Daniel, you said there's an underreach in the draft where GMs are going to be kicking themselves when it all is said and done, that they had the opportunity to take this kid and they passed up on him to the sign of not counting against a draft choice, which is just lunacy. We're going to talk about a couple of safeties that land in perfect positions, and we're going to talk about, all in all, again, Kirby Smart as the dude who gets guys on campus, and wherever they are ranked, they end up higher than where they brought into the program. So let's start, Daniel, on some guys. Let's start in the first round. We're talking about Brock Bowers and Amarius Mims. Amarius Mims goes 18th, 15th and 18th inside the top 20. We got the Raiders as well as the Bengals, respectively, for Brock Bowers and Amarius Mims. Amarius Mims sets up in a situation where he is now protecting one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Brock Bowers is catching passes from a quarterback. I don't know who is going to be throwing him passes for the long run, but T's and P's.
I mean, I don't think anybody knows who.
It doesn't matter so much because if it's within,
he's Brock Bowers.
That's right.
Okay.
Let's talk about these two gentlemen's situations and how Kirby Smart brought them in, landed them, and developed. And Brock Bowers was brought in, and make no mistake, he came from Napa, California, which many of you don't even know where that is, outside of a wine bottle. It is the coastal above San Francisco, so North Bay area. And this just in, Brock Bowers was athletic. He's an incredible blocker. Draft grades down on him because he didn't go ahead and test. But if you look at the film and you look at game tape, which is what's most important, not 40-yard dash, because anybody can train for that and be a track athlete. It takes a special kind of breed to be fast in game, which is what Brock Bowers is. He was incredible. He goes to the Raiders. Daniel, talk about the development that Brock Bowers had in Georgia's offense, and it was just unlocked. Like, he had a lot of raw skill sets that didn't come across in high school tape because he had to be an end-all be-all. He was quarterback, running back, linebacker, punt returner, punt. I mean, he just did it all. He gets to Georgia. He just said, give me the ball in space and let's see what happens. I'll be stronger than everybody, faster than everybody, more agile than everybody. And, oh, yeah, just this. I'll block in line against a linebacker or DB or an end that you give me, no problem. He translates easy to the NFL, and Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo are credited with developing him into an all-around weapon on offense, Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are going to be easy stars on their respective teams. These were very can't miss round one prospects. We thought Georgia was only going to have 2 in the first round. They only had 2 in the first round. I'll say this, and I told you, if somebody's going to sneak into the first round, Clint, who did I say it was going to be? Ladd McConkey, and I'll be danged if he didn't almost sneak into that first round. The LA Chargers said, I can't believe he's still here. we're
How is
going to
he still
need to
here?
snatch him up. Second pick, 34th overall of the second round. I would say of those three guys, you have got to love Ladd's situation.
Love
I
it.
mean, like going out, playing for the Chargers, obviously first year coach Jim Harbaugh. I loved that video of that phone call between the two of them. It was fantastic. That's some of my favorite things that come out during the draft. But it's a good situation. Justin Herbert, a team that you feel like, say what you will about Jim Harbaugh, but you tell me the spot that he's been that he hasn't been successful as a coach. I expect him to be successful as the San Diego Chargers head coach. And it's a great, I think of all three of those, Ladd McConkey may have found himself into the best situation of all of them. And
He's an instant starter. Day one starts on that offense, Daniel. The offensive wide receiver group is depleted.
Absolutely.
Kirby Smart.
Yeah. Keenan Allen gone. Like there's a lot of openings on that roster. And so you love that. All right. We're going to come back. Segment 2. We're going to talk about who we thought was the biggest steal of the draft. And then segment 3, y'all, I'm going to go off and talk about the most ridiculous oversight in the history of the NFL draft. But first, some from these.
Some like Game Time. Game Time is fantastic because Daniel and I can get last-minute tickets on the places we want to go. The ticket place for NBA as well as playoff tickets. It's faster. It's easier. Prices on Game Time app actually go down the closer you get to tip-off. This is just good for everybody. Pick specific games and matchup that you want to attend and go ahead and find out where the seats are and how the deals you get going. Last-minute deals save up to 60% off buying last-minute sports, concerts, comedy, theater. You better believe that Daniel and I may just book plane tickets before we get Tuscaloosa tickets, or may get plane tickets and hotel reservations before we do anything else for games in Athens, because
we're not worried about the tickets. We're not worried about the tickets. Game Time got us.
Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the industry. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONCollege, $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. But that's not all, Daniel. Besides Game Time, we also have FanDuel, and FanDuel is fantastic. It's the official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs, Locked On Podcast everywhere. It's time for NBA, NHL playoffs. Baseball's in full swing. FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. But everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all in the app that is safe, secure, easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make your first bet automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
All right, we talked about 3 Bulldogs drafted. There are 5 more to choose from, and we're gonna each give you, if you're this fan base, you're the most excited about the Georgia Bulldog that you ended up with. And so let me run through the picks for you. The Houston Texans in round 2 got Kamari Laster.
Come on.
The Green Bay Packers in round 2 took Javon Bullard a few picks later. Tyke Smith slid all the way to round 3 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In round 5, the Buffalo Bills picked up Cedric Van Pran Granger, and the Falcons rounded out the Georgia Bulldogs draft in the 6th round, taking Zion Logue. I'm going to start, Clint, and I'm going to tell you this. The folks in Buffalo, New York,
here we go,
are going to love this man, Cedric Van Pran.
Yes,
he comes in. He may not be the day one starter at center, but he may be. He comes in to a proud fan base, a great football culture, and he is only going to make that culture better. He is instant credibility anywhere he goes. And this just in, Clint, he's a ridiculously talented football player. I think he's the most underrated Georgia football player, maybe of the Kirby Smart era. Like, that's how I feel about Cedric Van Pran. And it's not just his intangibles. it's not just his leadership. Do yourself a favor and go find some video of Cedric Van Pran in the Orange Bowl against Florida State in a game that I was told by Florida State University didn't matter.
Now, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lie, apparently.
He played in the game, first of all, which is interesting. And then when he played in the game,
what did he do?
He came off the ball and absolutely destroyed some people. I'm talking about physically annihilated some people. Now, Cedric Van Pran is a home run pick in the 5th round. Like,
can't believe it.
We're talking about there's some 5th round players that aren't going to make rosters.
No, we'll be cut.
And you may have just drafted your center for the next 10 years in SVP. I cannot imagine a fan base more excited to have a Georgia Bulldog than the Buffalo Bills today, Clint.
It's really wild to me because if I look at the amount of Bulldogs that went later than expected, yes, Ladd McConkey snuck in there to nearly the 1st round, which
is unbelievable if you process that. Kirby Smart took Ladd McConkey.
How many stars did he have?
And made him into dang near a 1st round wide receiver. And there's Alabama fans on Twitter that are going to troll Ladd McConkey for slipping out of the 1st round.
Gosh.
Just process for me 1 second what we're doing. Like,
I'm waiting.
Yikes.
Anyway. It's ridiculous. Here's the reality. Cedric Van Pran is going to go ahead and absolutely. We got a guard in as center for Buffalo, a guy who was with the Dallas Cowboys earlier. SVP has every shot in the world of making not just a roster, but go ahead and getting a starting position very soon in Buffalo. They love toting the rock. They love running with a quarterback that is.
You think he knows how to block for James Cook?
I do know.
Think he knows?
In fact, I know definitively that he enjoys.
Okay. You think James Cook maybe just phoned in a little bit? He just said, "Hoo-dee-hoo, GM."
Real quick.
My guy's still out there.
He's still out there.
He's on the board.
There's 4 centers drafted ahead of him. We need this dude instantaneously. But Daniel, Jordan Love and the Packers. If you don't understand how much love I have for the Packers GM and front office right now.
No, we love them.
It's because they quadruple dipped into Georgia's.
They love Georgia defenders, do they not?
Devontae Wyatt is starting as a tackle.
He's there. Who else?
Quay Walker.
I'm sorry.
How about he just was one of the leading tacklers for the defense?
That's probably it, though.
No. What if I told you that Stokes is also
Eric Stokes? He out there as well. All right.
Javon
they didn't add anybody this draft, did they?
No, Javon Bullard slots in right. I think day 1 starting safety for the Packers. And
I promise you this: if he ain't day 1 starting safety, he gonna be lighting some fools up on special teams.
I'm telling you this right now. Evan Williams as well as back there as the draft out of Oregon. So they got a couple rookies back there. Xavier McKinley is back there in the secondary. I think Javon Bullard set himself up really well to be drafted by the Packers. I think Packers did a great job. They hit the Packers draft choice. Devontae Wyatt is a starter on the defensive line. Quay Walker is a tackling machine. Eric Stokes is a lockdown corner. They just said, well, why wouldn't we just get as many Georgia players as possible? Javon Bullard sets himself up into a fantastic situation.
Really?
I think the fit and the scheme and the need and the skill set is ideal. I think Javon Bullard is underrated. He could have gone 2nd, 1st round. The skill and the talent is there.
For him to fall to 58, the Packers have to feel like they won the lottery. Won the dang lottery.
A filled need, a skilled need, and a guy that they know comes ready because Kirby Smart has coached him up personally.
That's how he does it. How many stars did he have coming out of high school? Probably 5, right?
He was probably, it's all about just simply getting the best recruits in Georgia. That's all they do. They can't develop or coach or scheme or game plan for anybody.
Oh, cool. Another 3-star that Kirby Smart turned into
I'm sorry. Was everything I just said not true?
Not true. No.
That's wild, Daniel. We're going to come back after this. Daniel's going to pop off. I'm going to agree with him, and it's for the 199 But first, these. And these are, in fact, Monopoly Go. Monopoly Go is fantastic. Daniel and I have a competitive side. It's fantastic what we do. But we're going to pause here and talk about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that. But this is just too much good stuff in this game. Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends, time tournaments where you work together, build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much more to get. Unique stickers you can trade with friends, compete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces, travel the boards with, hilarious emojis, taunting friends. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments, challenges, a ton included with their own unique mini games like digging for treasures or a robot Pinchico machine. Daniel, I don't know if you know.
How about that?
How about that? There's always news, time, and events that will help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So go get off the bench and download it now for free, Google Play or the App Store. Game on. Daniel, you wanted to pop off, so I give the representative from Tennessee the floor.
Listen, I get it that not everyone in the NFL, it's not their job to be a fan of Georgia football. I get it that it's not their job to pick the guys you like, okay? And let's just be honest. Look across the NFL. There's plenty of guys who are awesome at football who didn't go to Georgia, who are absolutely murdering it in the NFL right now. That's fine. For every Nick Chubb, there's 10 other running backs who are also very good at football who didn't go to Georgia. But listen, you don't have to take him in the first round. You don't have to take him in the first few rounds. But the fact that Kendall Milton did not get drafted, and I can't even talk about Daijun Edwards right now, who also did not get drafted, signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Congratulations to Daijun Edwards. But the fact that Kendall Milton didn't get drafted is, to me, insanity. I understand the injuries. I understand that he's, maybe GMs have a tendency to do this. They have a tendency to get on a certain line of thinking and scare themselves off of common sense, right? There have been hundreds of running backs who have overcome similar injuries to Kendall Milton. And Clint, you get the feeling that what happened is that NFL GMs looked at last season and said 121 carries, 790 yards, 6.5 yards a carry, 14 touchdowns, which is pretty good. But you look at his whole career and, there's nothing. He never rushed for near 1,000 yards. He never.
Right.
But Clint, you and I both know that right now is the healthiest that Kendall Milton has been since he was a senior in high school.
Correct. I was just going to say ever since we've seen him on ESPN out of Fresno, California.
This very moment is the healthiest he's ever been. And I'll validate that by telling you that in 3 of his last 5 games as a Georgia Bulldog, he rushed for over 100 yards in those games. And oh, by the way, he did so averaging over 10 yards a carry.
Oh, that's unique.
Well, it's also, he had 6 touchdowns in those 3 games, 9 touchdowns in his last 5 games of his Georgia career. It's almost as if he is just rounding into form. Like he's figuring it out. His body is healthy and he is poised to begin his career right now for a team. And the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles were able to not spend a draft pick and just pick this guy up is unbelievable, Clint. I guarantee you he's going to be a good NFL running back. I guarantee
Mark it down.
You. He may not make a Pro Bowl. He might not be a Hall of Famer. I guarantee you he is going to be a good NFL running back.
I'm going to compare him to another NFL player that was actually drafted by the Eagles and then compare him with a Georgia Bulldog This is not Elijah Holyfield. Elijah Holyfield, injured, did not have the burst, the speed, or the vision that that Kendall Milton had. Zeus, another player drafted by Georgia, but Elijah Holyfield, injured, had some marks on him. That's not what Kendall Milton. Kendall Milton is a big-bodied, huge running back that can hit a hole with some burst, with some speed, who is now healthier than he's ever been in his entire life. And Shipley was drafted by the Eagles with a 4th-round selection that was often injured as well, that had some intriguing upside to him. And if you look at the other running backs, Bucky Irvin out of Oregon in the 4th round, you're going to tell me you're going to take Bucky Irvin above a healthy Kendall Milton? No, thanks. Ray Davis, Kentucky. That dude had volume and an offense that only ran through him.
Kendall Milton is a better running back than Ray Davis. Bucky Irving and Will Shipley, those are different kinds of players. Those are not Kendall Miltons, right? Like, you understand, these are different. Those are different receiving threats out of the backfield. Like, that's a different kind of player. I'm not even going to compare him. Ray Davis out of
Notre Dame goes to the Broncos in the 5th round. Another big, you telling me that you'd rather have him? Because I saw tape, I watched film, I watched games. These guys are different.
Again, if you look at the whole careers, yes, they had better careers.
Sure.
I'm not
talking about career.
That is not an indicator of reality. Reality is who he is right now.
South Dakota State, New Hampshire had running backs. Louisville had 2 running backs taken. I'm telling you this right now. Daniel is right. The ceiling for Kendall Milton, the Eagles may have just found a solution to they let one Georgia Bulldog go. He went to the Bears. DeAndre Swift, go be great. But if you're telling me that Kendall Milton's not going to make an opening day roster, as well as make an exciting addition to the Eagles depth chart, I don't know who to help you, because this is true. It's factually correct that the healthy version of this guy, I know they have Saquon, I get it. But if you look at the rest of the running backs, Gainwell ain't it. Shipley, who knows? He's a different kind of beast, more receiver. But this guy might be the answer that you need. Huge oversight, and the Eagles are very.
The Eagles were there to just snatch him up.
It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
It's criminal, is what we're seeing happen. This has been Locked On Bulldogs by Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. He is Daniel. I am Clint. We will see you guys next time. We talk more Georgia football and basketball. Until then, we'll see you guys.
See you.